Hello guys, my name is Buffy Viewist, and this is going to be my first ever video review. Buffy Viewist is my name because it's reviewist and Buffy combined, because I'm just that clever. I basically wanted to start now because I've seen many Buffy reviews online, and I don't think many of them know any background details or much about the series. One person didn't even know Willow's last name. By the way, it's Rosenberg. Basically, I'm going to do this review a bit differently. I'm going to review each episode. This is simply because I don't think I can review an entire series in one video. There's too much within an episode. But even before I get to an episode, there are a few things to talk about, like the original movie and the unaired pilot. Okay, so basically, the original movie was directed by a woman called Fran Kazooie, and Joss Whedon only actually wrote the script. However, when Fran turned the film into more of a comedy, Joss was heartbroken, as he wanted the film to be more serious and the comedy to be more of a footnote. Basically, the film showed a young girl, obviously Buffy, who was very popular, and was then told by a mysterious man that she was the Slayer, and she would eventually have to fight the Force of Darkness, which in conclusion left her to burn down her gymnasium and lose all her friends. Joss chose a beauty blonde girl mainly because he was sick of how all the stupid blondes in films would end up running into the killers and dying. So he chose Buffy, a kick-ass lead girl. She was also played by an actress called Kristy Swanson, not Sarah Michelle Gellar. The film wasn't bad, but it was more of a comedy. David Arquette's character was your typical idiot. Lots of cheap jokes, but still an okay movie. It was also released the year I was born, so is that coincidence? Okay, the movie finished with Buffy knowing of vampires and had torn her superhuman abilities and being able to defeat them all, but during this, the gymnasium ended up getting burnt down and was obviously blamed on Buffy. She also lost all her friends, like I said before. This is why the program is based in Sunnydale, because her mum broke up with her father and moved away to start a new life, which was a terrible mistake as she moved to Sunnydale. After the film, Joss was approached by an executive from Fox who asked if he wanted to change the film into a show. We didn't explain to that. They said, "Do you want to do a show?" And I thought, high school as a horror movie. And so the metaphor became the central concept behind Buffy, and that's how he sold it. The supernatural elements in the series stood as the metaphors for personal anxieties and associated with adolescence and young adulthood. When they started auditions, every other character went for the role of Buffy, like Mercedes McNabb, who played Harmony, Charisma Carpenter, who played Cordelia, Charisma, I don't know how you say it, and Julie Benz, who played Darla. Sarah had already got the role of Cordelia, but carried on trying for the part of Buffy, which obviously she ended up getting. The funny thing is that Ryan Reynolds actually went for the role of Xander, which would have been a whole different show completely. Okay, so the reason the first ever episode wasn't called Pilot and called Welcome to the Hellmouth is because there was an unaired episode which was 25 minutes long called Pilot. It was pretty much the same as the first episode, however, the principal was played by a different actor, and Willow was played by Alison Hannigan. She was actually played by a girl called Riff Reagan, which obviously Alison Hannigan then took the role when they were filmed the first episode. There was a couple of jokes, like someone saying what kind of name is Buffy, and then finding out that the girl's name is Aphrodisia. You should definitely check it out before watching this. So now that I've told you the history of Buffy, let's dive right in with the first episode, which is called Welcome to the Hellmouth. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so the way I'm going to do my reviews is split it up. First I'm going to give a little description on each episode, what happens and the key points. I'm then going to talk about the things that I loved and the things I really did not like. And then I will also talk about the mistakes within the episode if I spot any. I'll give a few interesting facts on the episode and then finally choose my favourite character of the episode and give an episode an overall rating, which is a mark out of 10. Okay, so it starts within the school where a boy is leading a girl in through the back entrance, which is actually bad for him because it turns out to be Darla. After the credits, it takes off with our Slayer having nightmares of the upcoming future and then awakened to get ready for school. It is her first day at Sunnydale High. She is also wanting a clean slate and not to be a Slayer anymore. You could say she is retired. In the episode, you meet all the cast: Xander Harris, Willow Rosenberg, Rupert Giles, Jesse, and Cordelia. Giles, knowing that Buffy is a Slayer, quickly scares her off. Upon realizing there is a dead body on her first day of school, she confronts Giles about the body and says she wants a normal life and wants nothing to do with the Slayer business. He says some stuff in English, and boom boom, Xander overhears everything and finds out about her secret. Then there is a vampire called Luke and starts saying some gibberish over a pool of blood. And that's it. Buffy then is getting ready to go to the Bronx, where a mysterious man starts to follow her. Knowing she is being followed, she hides and confronts the dark figure. It happens to be the very handsome Angel. He says some demony stuff and gives her a cross necklace. Back in the Bronx, Buffy makes a fool of herself and finds Willow. She then goes to talk to Giles about more vampire stuff, which is weird because she always says she is retired. Their talk is interrupted by Willow being taken by a suspected vampire. Luke is again over the pool of blood where the Master then awakens. He is apparently trapped behind an invisible wall. Xander then confronts Buffy about being a Slayer. Meanwhile, the vampire takes Willow into a crypt, soon followed by Darla and Jesse, who has already been bitten. Showing her true face to Willow, Darla is interrupted by Buffy and Xander. Thomas is then killed pretty quickly. After a little cat fight, Luke appears from behind and throws her in a crypt, and this is where the episode ends. Okay, so I think the episode is a great starting episode. It isn't perfect, and there isn't much that it entices you in besides the fact that you want to know what happens to Buffy. However, there are some great scenes in this episode, like the first scene of the episode, where Darla playing the innocent schoolgirl leads you to believe that it is going to be a very stereotypical opening to a horror. Stupid blonde gets chased by a man and then eventually killed. But no, it flips it and makes the thug a victim. Besides the fact that Julia Benz is incredible at playing this role, it just messes with your mind that such an innocent person can then turn so bad. Another thing I love is how the entire episode shows all these annoying teenage things that happen to everyone, like the way Buffy knocks into someone and drops the stuff in the middle of the hall. The fact that Jessie is trying hard for the popular girl and failing, like all love-stricken teens, and my favourite part when Buffy waves to a man who in fact is waving to someone else. The fact that Joss puts these in really shows he wants that teenage drama with a twist, the fact that she has to fight for her life against vampires. Another little thing is when Giles is stuck in a nightclub with teenagers parading around him. He just makes the scene brilliant. Now there are some bad things, but it's mostly just me being very picky. Like, how did Buffy get parallel on that bar before Angel came around the corner? Even with her superhuman strength, that's incredible. And I also hated Luke's really cheesy lines. They also annoyed me.
I don't care. You're strong. I'm stronger.
I hate the fact that Darla's made out to be a wimp, and she gets battered in a couple of seconds against Buffy. Darla was downsized loads, which would have been fine if they didn't bring her back in Angel and make her stupidly awesome and vicious. Also, why does Buffy seem so interested with Giles if she doesn't want to be a Slayer anymore? She also delivers an annoying line.
To tell you that I don't care, which I don't, and have now told you. So, bye.
Is that just me who gets annoyed by that? Now, I didn't find much mistakes. Maybe I'm not looking hard enough, but if you watch, when Buffy gets bumped into by some people who are quite far away with no one in front of them, as soon as she drops her stuff, Xander turns around as if he was walking that way and is directly in front of those two people. Does that mean he was waiting for Buffy? Very odd. Also, Angel says he was expecting Buffy to be taller, but later on in the series you know he actually has seen her before. In the scene where Buffy shares a book with Cordelia, the teacher says turn to page 63, but Cordelia turns to somewhere at the front. Okay, so there's some little facts for you here. The school that they're actually filming in for Sunnydale High is actually the same school Beverly Hills 90210 is filmed in. When they're first making this episode, after the pilot, Joss Whedon wanted to put Jesse, Eric Balfour, in the title screen so it would be a huge shock when he died early on. Kinda like Psycho. Also, Cordelia says how she would kill to live in LA, which reluctantly she does end up killing for a living when she goes there after series 3. If you also didn't know, Luke actually plays the judge as well later on in the series. The title song is actually a band called Nerfurter, and the character Xander is based on Joss Whedon himself. And also, apparently the Master was called Henrik Joseph Nest and was 600 years old, which oddly means he isn't the oldest vampire, not even close. Then why is he called the Master? I would have to say my favourite character of the episode would have to be Darla. Now my official rating for this episode is going to be a 6 out of 10, simply because 10 being my favourite episode, and this doesn't come close, but don't worry, the season gets a lot better.
You're strong.